I want to talk about how to actually initiate conversations with women, because this is really one of the main problems that I've seen my clients deal with, is how to actually initiate conversations, how to actually approach women in your day-to-day life. So let's talk about it. So first of all, I just want to tell you a little bit about my story. About 8 years ago, I had a massive problem approaching women during daytime. I remember I was fresh out of high school. I moved from Tunisia to Canada because I grew up a little bit in Tunisia and a little bit in Paris. And when I arrived in Canada to study, I didn't know a lot of people. So I didn't have my initial social circle. I didn't really know how to seduce women outside of where I grew up in. And so it was a bit weird just making new friends and approaching women. And I really didn't have a strategy for my dating life at that time. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. It was pretty much like just luck. I would go to a nightclub or to a party. I would get a few drinks. And then if I'm lucky, after a few drinks, I would get the confidence to approach women. And at some point, I might find a girl that would just be hooked, you know? Sometimes you get lucky and a girl really likes you and it goes very smoothly and it's easy. But it wasn't predictable. I was just relying on going to nightclubs or parties and getting drunk and then potentially bringing a girl home. And that wasn't a viable strategy for me. So then after a few months of doing this and seeing that it wasn't really predictable, plus like it would cost me a lot of money, it would cost me my health as well because I was drinking and stuff like that. So obviously I was aware that that wasn't a sustainable way of just dating girls. So I decided to invest in myself and I took a bunch of, dating courses, mentors, stuff like that. And they were all talking about approaching women during daytime, actually approaching women in real life, which is something I wasn't really doing because I didn't want to go through the uncomfort of doing it. Obviously, this is something that is a bit uncomfortable for most people. And so I didn't want to go through that uncomfort. But after a few days of watching courses and reading books, I felt like I had to give it a try. And so I started giving it a try, approaching a few girls. Some girls would reject me. Some girls was really awkward, but I still did it. And I was proud of the fact that I still did it. At least I had feedback. At least I was progressing to some extent. And then at some point, I took a boot camp with one of my mentors, and this completely changed the way I viewed approaching women, the way I viewed dating as a whole. And I remember the first time I met my mentor, he immediately pinpointed to me a few things about how I talked, about how I spoke to people, about the way I was conducting my approaches. And today in this video, I'm going to give you some of the most common mistakes that most guys make and how you can avoid them. Okay? So when it comes to approaching women, the first thing is you want to really open like you mean it. You don't want to half-ass your approach. You don't want to be the guy who like hovers around for like 3 to 5 minutes before actually making a move. If you see a girl and you decide that you want to approach her, go straight away. Don't hover around. Don't think about it too much. Like as soon as you see the girl, try to approach her. The sooner you can approach her, the more spontaneous the conversation is going to be and the more the vibe is going to be better. Right? And women have a seventh sense for this. Like they can sense it when you've been, just watching them in the corner and then you try to approach her last minute, but it's not good. Okay, so when you see a girl, open her like you mean it. You see a girl, you go straight, you approach. Now, one thing you want to do is in the first couple seconds, you want to clarify your intent. And you want to basically give her a context of why you're approaching her. So if that's a daytime approach, for example, well, you want to let her know, like, hey, I just saw you. I was on my way somewhere. I just wanted to say hi to you. You had a nice style. Or, hey, I know this is random. I just want to come say hi to you, blah, blah, blah. Something like that. You just want to give her a context of why you wanted to approach her. And just let her know that you're not just there to be friends with her. You're there because you saw something in her that you liked, or maybe you found her interesting in some way and you just wanted to say hi. So you don't want to beat around the bush. Most guys, what they do is they beat around the bush. They're super indirect. They start talking about the weather or start asking random questions with no intent. And you have to understand that women want to know why you're there. They don't want to be thinking like, who's this guy? Like, why is he talking to me? Is he gonna linger around? Like, they want to know why you're there. And you have to kind of, let them know, from the get-go. Now, after you give her context and after you approach her and she stops, then you want to move to building rapport and really like developing a vibe with her. So what you want to do basically is you want to do a mix of cold reading and asking questions. Because if you ask too many questions, if you bombard her with questions, you're almost like a policeman where you're just asking questions, and like she's being interviewed. And so it's not good. What you want to do instead is you want to give a few statements and as well ask relevant questions. So for example, instead of saying like, what do you do for a living, right? Or, oh, what do you do here? You can just guess it. You can say, oh, you seem, I don't know, you look pretty corporate with your suit. You seem like a lawyer. Or, I can tell you're the artsy type. I can tell you're into art and stuff like that. Or if she looks like a hippie or something, you can say, oh, you look pretty artistic. Like I can tell you're kind of an artistic girl, right? Or you can just guess things, right? Any question can be turned into a statement. So for example, how old are you? Could be like, oh, I guess you're pretty young. I guess you're 24. And you can just make guesses, make assumptions, make observations. But you don't want to overdo it, because when guys start learning about cold reading and making guesses, they start overdoing it. Like every sentence they say is like a statement or cold read. That's not good. You want to basically make a few observations, but at the same time, ask a few questions too. Otherwise, it's a bit weird if you just only make observations and you don't ask any questions. And you want to keep the focus on her. What a lot of guys do is they come from a place of like, oh, I need to impress her. I need to entertain her. I need to kind of brag a bit about myself so that she feels like, I'm cool. And so instead, what you want to do is you want to really keep the focus on her and ask her questions about herself. Like genuinely, you have to be curious. And if she asks you questions about yourself, then yeah, you can, demonstrate high value and position yourself in a high value way. So for example, if a girl asks me what I do, first of all, I can make her chase a bit for the answer. So for example, if she asks me what I do, I can say, I don't know if I should tell you. It's complicated, like I'll tell you later, right? So that then she chases for the answer. Or I could say something like, I don't know if I tell you, you're gonna judge me. I don't know if I should tell you what I do. And that keeps her chasing a bit. That keeps the mystery up, right? So you can do those type of things. But then when it's time to tell her what I do, then I just tell her what I do in a high value manner. Like, oh, I'm traveling right now. I have my business, etc. Without lying, obviously that's what I do. If you work at Starbucks, you can still say like, oh, right now I work in a famous restaurant chain, famous coffee shop, whatever. And I'm managing this coffee shop, whatever. If you're a pizza delivery guy, you can say like, I'm traveling for work, I'm in the food business. Like you can always demonstrate high value, even if your job is not that great. You can frame it in a way that sounds cool, right? So those are my thoughts on demonstrating high value, but I'm gonna do some other videos about this. But basically, yeah, you don't want to talk too much about yourself. You want to keep the focus on her. And if she asks you, then yeah. Or you can talk about yourself to relate to some of the things she says. And then what you want to do as well is you want to qualify her on the things that you're looking for. Like a minimum. You don't need to qualify her too much, but at least a minimum. Like for example, I would qualify a girl on whether she goes out or not, whether she likes to party or not, whether she goes to the gym, whether she ever dated like a French guy, for example. If I'm in Estonia, right? A lot of Estonian girls have never dated like a French guy. And so I could ask like, oh, have you ever dated a French guy before? Have you ever been to France? Like I could ask qualifying questions like that, right? And then you want to close, because ultimately, like during daytime, people are busy. Girls are busy, and you should be busy too. So you're not going to spend like 30 minutes talking to a girl in the street or at the gym or at the grocery store. It's going to be like 3, 5, max 10 minutes. And then you're both going to bounce off. And so you want to talk with her for like enough time for you to build rapport and have like a good amount of conversation. but then you want to close, always be closing. And you never want to close by asking for the number. You never want to say like, oh, can you give me your number? Instead, you want to assume the close. You want to say, hey, you know what? You seem pretty fun. Like, let's exchange Instagram. It's not like, oh, can I get your Instagram? It's like, hey, let's exchange Instagrams. Because the frame is that your Instagram is important too. It's not about getting her Instagram because her Instagram is so valuable. You're both valuable and you're both exchanging contacts, right? You're both networking, but obviously for dating purposes. And so let's exchange, like this is called assumptive closing. You always want to assume the close, never ask for it. You know, the structure is very simple. So at first you open her like you mean it, you stop her, and you want to basically give her a context of why you're there and state your intent. And so then after that, you want to build some rapport and have like a small conversation. So you can make a few statements, you can ask a few questions. I talk about that in my programs. We go very, very deep in my programs. And you want to do that. And then you want to qualify a little bit and then you want to close. So it's a pretty easy structure, as you can see, that I'm giving you, but there's way, way more. And obviously we covered that in my programs. I'm not going to make this video too long, but I hope this was valuable. I've actually done like a free PDF on how to approach women. The link is in the description. And if you truly want to level up your dating life within the next few weeks, if you want to attract high quality women consistently, get 1, 2, 3 dates a week, or attract your dream partner, then simply book a call with us. We'll have a quick chat. We'll talk about your situation, your goals, and then we'll give you a game plan to get there. Now, thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate you watching this video. And don't forget to click on the subscribe button if you're not subscribed yet, and leave a comment if you have a question or any suggestion. So see you guys soon. I'll see you in the next video.